Hi and welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name's Nicole and this is Dusty Book Sniffers, and today I'm starting a new book called Wuthering Heights. We all know what that is. Everybody's heard about it, by Emily Bronte. Now, I have never read this before, so I thought that I would do this as a little bit of a vlog. So let's get into it. Good morning or good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for taking some time out of your day and spending it with me while I prattle on about the books that I've read. Now, as I said, I'm actually doing this a little bit different this time. I'm actually going to vlog my experience reading Wuthering Heights for the first time and getting, my thoughts on video and what I think about it and all the rest of it. So I don't really, I've heard about it. I know about it. I don't know what the plot is. I've avoided it like the plague. As most of you know, that I've just avoided the classics altogether. And so I really wanted to just slow down, take a moment, vlog this, read each part, and take some notes as I'm going and all that sort of stuff. So basically, I am, as I said, going to vlog my reactions to each volume. I believe there are 3 volumes in this. I think it was released in 3 parts. I can't remember now, and I can't find it. Of course, when you need to, you can't find it. So anyway, I am going to go ahead and read part 1, and then I'll come back and check in with you and tell you what I thought. Hey everybody, I'm just taking a break from filming, and I was just finished reading the first volume of Wuthering Heights, and yeah, because I've never read this before. As I said in the intro, it's the first time I've ever read it in my life. Like, yes, I've heard about it, yes, I've seen that there's adaptations. I don't think I've ever watched an adaptation of it either. So yeah, it is so not what I thought it was going to be, but I can see why people love this. So as I said, I've just finished the first volume, and I've just gone into the second volume, and I'm up to page 159. So I'm about halfway through. Now, I honestly do not know what to say, or because it just was not what I was expecting. For some reason, I was expecting a full-on romance. This is so not that at this point in time. So basically, we're following, for those that haven't read Wuthering Heights, we're following the story of Heathcliff, and they're obviously at a place called Wuthering Heights, and Catherine is also the main female in it. There's a few other characters in there as well. Catherine's brother, Isabella. They're from a different family and all the rest of it, and they're all interconnected basically. But yeah, I have a few things that I have questions about. So there's a few sentences in here that lead me to believe that Heathcliff is actually a person of colour or of mixed race. So there's that. Which I did not know. I was not. I am right in thinking that, because that's the impression. They never actually come out and say it, but that's the way it's alluded to. So I'm assuming that is the case. So yeah, so there was that, which I was not expecting. There's nothing wrong with that, but I just wasn't expecting it, because when this was written and all that sort of stuff, you don't find a lot of people of colour or mixed race in it. But and he's so not a nice person. He's not nice at all. But I can't help thinking that that is because of the way he's being treated. You know, he's a product of his environment, basically. It comes down to that, you know, nurture and environment debate. And I feel that some of his actions, well, a lot of his actions is because of the way he's been treated. And he has been treated very poorly, especially by Catherine's brother, which his name is eluding me. Is it Hinkley? I don't know. I keep wanting to say that. So, yeah. So anyway, yeah, I've just finished reading. It's got little spoilers in it. I'm up to the part where Isabella has just written a note to Nellie. Now, Nellie is the lady's maid, I guess you would call her, for Catherine. Catherine is the main person, female in the book so far, and it's sort of centering around her feelings and everything for Heathcliff, but she's not a very nice person either. Like, really, they're probably suited to one another, but she's not real nice either, and she doesn't think very highly. Like, she's supposed to, you know, think a lot of this Heathcliff, and quite frankly, she acts as if, you know, if I can't have him, no one can, but then treats him like dirt in some aspects, and, you know, doesn't have a lot of nice things to say. Especially, there's one part where she's talking to to Nellie, and Nellie's actually telling the story to Mr. Lockwood is his name, I think. Let me just have a look at that. Get to the first one. Yes, Mr. Lockwood. So Nellie is telling the story to Mr. Lockwood. He is ill, and so she's now like he got ill. He went to Wuthering Heights, and he met them all, and then he's come back to his house, and he's not well, and basically he wants to know about the people up there and all the rest of it. And so Nellie is telling him the story, so she is reflecting back in the book. I love how, like, it is just such an easy story to fall into. I'm absolutely loving it. Yeah, I'm not really rating how people are treating Heathcliff, and I feel a little bit sorry for him, but at the same time, he could probably handle himself a little bit better too, you know. But hey, the story wouldn't be the story if he wasn't, you know, if we weren't getting to know his character and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I don't know what I was expecting, honestly, but I'm going to go and continue reading this, and then I will check in at the end of volume 2, because I believe there's 3 volumes in here, so I'll check in at the end of volume 2. Let me just check that. Is there? No, there's only 2 volumes. Okay, so I will check in at the end of the book. So I'm about halfway through, just checking at that. So yeah, interesting. I have a lot of thoughts. Alrighty, I'll check in soon. What did I just read? Chapter 16. For those that have read Wuthering Heights, chapter 16. What? Oh my god. I don't want to. I know said I was going to check in like at the end of the book, but I'm checking in now because, oh my god, chapter 16 just totally blew me away. I'm like, how did I miss that point? And I just checked in with Maria on Discord as well, because I wasn't up to chapter 16, and she put up there, and then she put the spoilers out, and I'm a good girl and I don't check the spoilers, and then I went and checked her chapter 16, and I'm like, okay, so we both missed this in the book. I'm like, what the hell? Chapter 16, people. Oh my god, when did that happen in the book? Why was it not mentioned? Now I'm like, do I go back? Should I go back and read the first volume again? But it's 150 pages. I'm definitely going to be reading this book again, and sooner rather than later, because I want to find where that was mentioned. Anyway, I better get back to work because I'm procrastinating by reading books when really I should be filming for my craft videos, because I'm trying to get my December stuff sorted. Anyway, I'll be back, no doubt, with more thoughts. Okay, so I'm just checking in. I'm still reading Wuthering Heights. It's taking me forever to read this book. It's late on November 30th. It's pretty late at night, and I've had a pretty full-on day of filming and all the rest of it, and I'm sort of just trying to wind down a little bit. But these people are dropping like flies, and I'm a little bit confused by how quick the timeline is moving in this as well. Like, we've gone from Catherine being pregnant to the young girl being in her teens, and it's just like, sorry, that was a bit of a spoiler. I do apologise, but there's a whole lot of other stuff happening. Like, it's not really giving that much away, but I'm up to chapter 19, which is almost page 200, and it's just like, oh my goodness, this book is just full on. I'm like, the people in this book are so not nice. Like, they are not nice at all. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm playing with my hair. I've just taken it out, and it's been up all day, and it's just like, my scalp has just gone, oh, that is so much better. But yeah, I'm in the process of growing my grey out. Growing my dyed hair out to grey, so it's always up at the moment because it's just at that really terrible transition stage. But anyway, it's late and I'm rambling. Anyway, Wuthering Heights is just like, this is a great, like, this is so not what I expected. I'm enjoying it. Don't get me wrong, I am enjoying it. I'm just like, these people are not nice people to each other, and like, I get it's a love story. Like, we're at page 200, and like, how many pages are in this? Like, I'm almost like, so I've only got like 137 pages to go. A shit ton of stuff must happen in this book in the last 137 pages. Like, I'm definitely going to be reading this again because, like, as I said, there's a few things that have happened in this book. I'm like, did I miss that? Like, was that even mentioned? But yeah, like, I don't even know what to make of it. It's just so not what I expected. It's dark and it's a little bit twisted. These people are not nice people in this book. But anyway, I'm up to chapter 19. And the two cousins have just met. So for those that know who I'm talking about, the two cousins have just met, and they're a little bit, how you going about each other, and and so I guess it's going to develop from there. Maybe, So we'll see where it ends up. But I am totally shocked by this book. I don't know what I was expecting. I thought it was like a full on. The way everybody goes on about it, like it's a full-on romance book. This is like Hate the New Romance or something. Like, these people, I don't think they really liked each other. I think they were fooling themselves to think that they were in love, and all the rest of it. And yeah, and then I went looking the other night after
I forget who I was talking to now. I was talking to someone. I might have been talking to Savannah, I think, about it. And she said that there's a few adaptations. So I went and had a look, and I couldn't find anything on Netflix or Stan here in Australia, because they're the only two that I've got. And then I've also got Prime Video. And so I found 3 adaptations of Wuthering Heights on Prime, 2 of which I have to rent. One is available, and it was the 1939 adaptation of it. So, and it was in black and white. So I'm thinking that after I read this, I might actually watch the 1939 one, and then I'll watch the other 2. I think one was from the 90s, maybe, and the other was from 2011, something like that. So I'm going to watch all 3 adaptations before I end up talking about this book full on, like on the channel and whatnot, and just see how well the adaptations went to it. But I definitely, like, I'm not even finished this book and I'm already thinking I want to restart it. Like, I want to go back to the beginning, because I just think that the more you read this book, the more you'll get out of it. And I'm not really doing any analytical reading at the moment. I'm just sort of reading the story from cover to cover. There is a couple of spots that I've tabbed in it and whatnot, and just written highlighted some stuff, and but that's only in the second part. I haven't really done that in the first part. But I think that the more I read this, and the more I understand the story, I think I'm going to get more out of the book each time that I read it. More detail and more meaning, because at the moment, as I said, I'm just sort of reading cover to cover to see what the story's about, but it is so not what I thought it was going to be. Anyway, leave me a comment down below if you've read this book and what your thoughts were on it. I will check in with my final thoughts soon. I am listening to this as well as reading along, and I've got about 2 hours to go on the audio, so not too long. I don't think I'm going to get it finished tonight, but anyway, I'll give it a red hot go. All right, I'll check in soon. Alright, so my final thoughts on this book is, like, as you've seen, I was quite shocked by different things. I felt like I missed things in it, like, and there's going to be some little spoilers here. If you haven't read this before, you've been with me under that rock. So, yeah, just about everybody I talk to, they have read this book. I, as I said, have avoided it like the plague. Just didn't want to have anything to do with it. But I'm so glad that I decided to read this along with Maria from Read Fine Books. I have had a great time reading it. But, as you've seen from the previous clips, I was a little bit confused by this book, because I was under the impression that this was a full-on romance book, because, like, yeah, like, no one has ever said that this guy is an ass. He's not a nice person. He is not a nice person at all. And so, like, I just really struggled reading with him. I'm just, like, at first I felt sorry for him because of the way he was being treated and everything like that, and I felt like that he was reacting to the way he was being treated, because, you know, if you're treated nastily, you are going to eventually be nasty back to someone, because that's the way you're being treated. And if you've done that from a very young age, it's hard to get out of those habits and all the rest of it. And there's like a few other things in this book that made me think about, you know, nurture versus environment and whatnot, because I think that nurture has a lot to do with it, but environment plays a big factor. And like that's sort of getting really deep into a conversation that people have varying different opinions on and all the rest of it. But I just felt that I think he got so, like, Heathcliff was so mistreated that he just couldn't get out of that habit of being nasty back, because that's all he knew. I mean, these are just my opinions and probably misinterpreting it or something along those lines, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's just how I felt about the book. I'm definitely going to be reading this again because I feel like that I missed some stuff, like the fact that Catherine gave birth. I thought she starved herself, but it turns out that she died from like childbirth, like yeah. And I'm like, was there no mention of that? Like, it was just completely, like, that's a major plot point. It was just glossed over. I wasn't the only one, because Maria also said, what? Wait, what happened? As well. So it was just like, yeah. And then, like, I really like the fact that Nellie was telling the story, and because Nellie had been with the family from such a young age, and she sort of grew up herself with the children, even though she was a little bit older. And so she's telling the story from an older woman's perspective in hindsight. And she's telling it to Mr. Lockwood? Yeah, Mr. Lockwood, while he's sick in bed and all the rest of it. And she's telling the story. I don't know how reliable she is when she's telling the story about Hareton and Kathy, young Kathy, because really, like, she would have quite a bond with those two characters, because of the simple fact is that she raised Hareton, is it Hareton? Is I think how you pronounce it, from a baby until he was about 5, and then she had pretty much raised young Kathy because she was her, like a better word, servant, and so she was with her all the time. So I think she may have had like a little bit of a jaded or rose-colored glasses on when it came to those two, because they also had some character flaws in them as well. Although I liked how he was treated really poorly by Heathcliff and treated really badly. And so I like that he still had it in him to try and change for the better for Kathy. And then there's Linton, who, like, what Linton and Heathcliff Senior, because it gets quite confusing there. Like, who are we talking about right now? But anyway, Linton was Heathcliff's son with Isabella. Isabella passed away, and Linton came to what's it called? The Grange, was it? Thrushcross Grange, and he was only there for like 24 hours, and then Heathcliff came and took him, and that's how him and Kathy met. And I struggled with the cousin thing, like the first cousin thing. Really struggled with that. And I think I struggled with it in Jane Eyre as well. Like, what is that? Like, they are your first cousins. You need to not touch them. Anyway, that's beside the point. But I was quite surprised. Like, Linton was made out to be this gentle child and sick and poorly and all the rest of it. I was really surprised how quick Heathcliff was able to manipulate him into treating Kathy so poorly, when Kathy had really been there for Linton and was, really caring towards Linton, and, wanted the best for Linton and wanted to be friends with Linton. And he just treated her so badly. Like, they essentially locked her up as a prisoner. And like, oh, yeah, it was a bit of a hard read, like, just the way they treated. And then, like, totally out of the blue, reading along, there hadn't been any cuss words or anything in this, and then all of a sudden, the word, block your ears if you don't like it, slut, was said in text, right there, smack, right in the face. Like, whoa, okay, did not see that coming. I didn't even think that would ever be, like, you expect that in some of the, the 60s and 70s, 1960s and 70s, you expect that word to pop in there every now and again. It wouldn't be out of the, because it was part of the vernacular back then. That's as derogatory as it is, it was still part of the vernacular back then, we obviously, I have never liked the word. I've just found it to be that and the C word. I will handle any other language, but you start throwing those two words around, that just gets to me straight away. So when I said, I'm like, whoa, like, Emily, language. Curb your language, young lady. And so yeah, it was just like, I was quite shocked by that. So this must have been so scandalous back in the day for that to be in there. And and it was just like, I was quite shocked by it. But I really enjoyed the journey, and like how obsessed he became with revenge and getting back at these people, and for the betrayal of Catherine, who passed away. And I think towards the end of his life, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just got the impression, like when he was saying about her ghost tormenting him and all the rest of it, I sort of interpreted that maybe he was feeling a little bit guilty, and a little bit remorseful for the way that he had treated people, especially Kathy, because that was playing on his mind. And of course he was coming towards, he was an elderly gentleman by this stage. So it was like I was a little bit taken back, and I thought maybe he was feeling a little bit remorseful and all the rest of it. I'm probably completely wrong. Like, these are just my feelings on it and what I took from the story. Everybody's going to take their own thing, but I gave it a 4-star rating because I really liked it. I did struggle with the content. I don't think it was a 5-star rating for me. Like, even thinking about it now, like, it's still lingering with me. I still don't think it's a 5-star read from me. It is a very good story, but it does have some warnings in it. Like, it is, like, yeah, it has all the things in it. It is a very dark romance, like a love-hate romance. It's just, and it was not what I was expecting. As I said, I was expecting something like, Jane Austen up there. There's me Jane Austen's up there. Like, I was expecting something like that. This was not that at all. And I don't know why. I honestly don't know why I thought that this was a love story. I guess it's because people go on about it. And like, another thing too, this book, back in the day, we were like 14, 15 when we were reading this. This is not a good book for a 14 or 15-year-old young lady to be reading. I don't care, because that would give, and even young gentlemen should be reading this, because that will give them the wrong idea that you can treat people poorly and still get a relationship from it. Like, I don't agree with it. But anyway, I still gave it a 4-star rating. And as you can see, I started to tab towards the back of it and whatnot. And as I said, like with Nellie, I felt like she was seeing, and she even says this towards the end of the book, that my children, where she's talking about Hareton and Kathy, because they are starting to mend fences and they're not letting Heathcliff come between them, and they're standing their ground and they're actually making inroads to repair the rift between themselves, even though I thought for a long time there that Kathy was destined to repeat history, like history was going to repeat itself, and I was quite worried that was what was going to happen. And so I was so glad that that's not what happened. And so yeah, I did love everything about this book, and I want to read it again. Will I read it in the next 6 months? Probably not. I'll probably leave it for maybe 12 months or so before I come back to it. I just want to digest it a little bit more and see where we end up. But that is my thoughts on my first reading of Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights, and I've even marked in the front of the book my first read as well. So and I got this for $8 from that secondhand bookshop that I went to a couple of weeks ago. I'm sort of kicking myself that I didn't tab the front, because there's a lot of stuff in the front that I would have liked to have gone back to and see as I'm reading through the next time. I've underlined things, I've circled things, I've made notes in the margins and all that sort of stuff. So it'll be interesting if I still feel the same way the second time around. But as I said, that is it for me today. Have a lovely day, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also the like. Leave me a comment down below and tell me what you thought of Wuthering Heights. Was it a yay or nay from you? Did you give it a star rating, or did you just not finish it at all? Would love to hear all the things about Wuthering Heights. I have
Also keyed up to watch the 1970 version of Wuthering Heights as well. I found it on YouTube, so I'm going to watch that and see how they compare, and yeah, make some notes. And then next time I talk about this book, which I'm destined to talk about it again in the classics for the second reading, we'll talk a little bit about that movie. But that's it from me today. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.